London City Council meeting, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent reflection. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, could you please take the roll call?
Anthony?
Here.
John?
Here.
Andy?
Here.
Rich?
Here.
Henry?
Here. Yes.
Brian?
Here.
Greg?
Here.
Yeah, good to see everyone this evening. Have you all had a chance to take a look at the minutes from our last meeting? If you have any corrections? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, minutes carry. We do not have any communications or announcements this evening, and we do have a couple of audience concerns. First of all, I'd like to call up Dave Mars. Please come to the podium, state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
Hopefully I won't take 5 minutes. Dave Mars, 155 North Oak Street. Just addressing the condition of downtown. After our last meeting, I sent an email to council, and actually I have a copy of it here. Should I just hand it to you or who? At any rate, I don't know if everybody got a chance to read the email that I sent out. I hope that didn't come across as accusatory or offensive in any way. Truth be told, my heart was a little bit, I was a little bit upset in writing it, but again, addressing the problem, I don't think nobody should be offended at it. We're just trying to resolve an issue with the condition of downtown. I do appreciate, I had 2 members of council reach out to me after that email. I appreciate them reaching out and their comments and questions and concerns. So appreciate that. And again, I did not mean to offend. I hope I didn't ruffle anybody's feathers with it. The big thing, as I see with downtown, is we're just looking for solutions and trying to bring our downtown to an acceptable state. If you'll see in the email and in the letter that you just received, there are a lot of pictures of the condition of our downtown right now, and to me it's unacceptable to see it the way that it is. There's just a lot of neglect that goes on. If any of you have more than one kid, I have 4 kids. If there's a mess and you look at it and you say, who did this? The answer is usually not me, right? And I think that's kind of the problem that we have in downtown, is that we have a lot of not me going on, and that there's not accountability for what we see in the pictures that you're looking at, and that we're all truthfully aware of. And so one of the things that I think that would be helpful is if we can establish accountability. I know that the city, and in the city's laws, the accountability for most of the problems that we see downtown falls on the land or the property owners. And I don't see that necessarily as a problem. Through HDRC, one of the things that we're working towards is to promote some sort of legislation that may encourage us to move towards a HOA model for the care of downtown, where we would have essentially a homeowners association or a property owners association that would take over that accountability, and so that there could be accountability for the issues that you're seeing in those pictures. I won't read the whole letter. In fact, I won't read it at all, but one of the big issues that we face is occupancy in the downtown. Out of 61, this is just looking at ground level storefronts, 61 storefronts, we have 23 that are unoccupied at the moment. That doesn't even take into account the second floors that are, I'm sure if we did that, the number would be much higher. So that puts our occupancy just over 65%. It's hard to attract business. And again, when you look at the pictures of downtown, it's hard to look at. But we're excited to work towards a downtown that we can be proud of. We love downtown. We want to see it be something that we can all take pride in, something that people talk about and say, want our town to be like London. So that's about all that I have to share tonight. Are there any questions or?
Yeah,
Yes, Henry.
thank you for sending this email out to us. And like you said, a lot of the photos and everything that you sent to us, they actually are, the responsibility of the property owner. I think that one of the issues, because, I'd like to see the downtown in a lot better condition as well. I have a business down there and I live there. So
Sure.
I look at it every single day. One of the things that I would like to see, and I understand you're going to put this group together, kind of like a property owners, homeowners association to, say, hey, you need to do this and take care of this. But we do have laws already on our books that address a lot of these issues. And I think that one of our issues that we have, and I've brought it up before a couple years ago, is that we need a full-time code enforcement officer. We need a full-time department that actually handles those things, because we have laws on the books already, but they're not enforced because we don't have anyone that can enforce them full-time. I understand we do have someone that does that on a part-time basis, but I think if we maybe even take a look at kind of what Mount Sterling has done, and they've cleaned up their city quite a bit. It's starting to look really good. So I'm not sure if the mayor and safety service director have any plans in the future for, maybe better code enforcement, maybe a full-time code enforcement, or even, bringing our building and zoning department up to full-time, because we do have a lot of potential here for building, and they say they've got a lot of buildings going up and everything. So I know we do need I feel that we would need more of a full-time building and zoning, and definitely a full-time code enforcement officer that can enforce the laws that we already have on the books that would address a lot of these things that you've sent out to us.
Yeah.
Could I just interject?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Henry. And we would love a full-time code enforcement agent. I mean, Rex and I actually do a lot of the mowing stuff where we take 2 hours and just drive around town and write down addresses of mowing and then send it to our part-time code enforcement agent. So if you guys want to take that to committee to start a new position and fund that position and do a job description and all that, we'll help you out however we can and get that through council.
Yeah, because I know that we used to have that here in the city. We had, and they were located right there in the water department there on the corner in the upstairs, and that was full-time. But I think that.
No. Oh, that was a
Building and zoning.
That was a full-time clerk, but a full-time, like Tom Hale's
Building
position.
official.
A building
Building
official.
official, not
Yeah,
code
we've only ever had
Right.
part-time code
Code,
enforcement.
right.
But, when we currently go through West Jeff for our building and zoning, which we
Right.
feel is doing a great job.
do
And,
agree.
it could be something where we talk to West Jefferson and say, hey, instead of us paying X amount of dollars per year, we'll pay this much more, but we want to have a full-time code enforcement agent. Because, they're the ones who actually, quote unquote, pay for the building department here in our office.
Right.
So we could talk to them about the contract, about if we give you X amount of dollars more, could we get a full-time code enforcement agent and then just run it through the current building department? Or we could get our own code enforcement agent, maybe put it underneath the law director, put it under administration or whatever you'd like to do. But yeah, if you guys want to fund it, we could use it and we'd like it.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to come to other committees to address this. It seems like an issue that probably needs a lot more discussion and fleshing out. And we're also researching codes that are on the books in other municipalities, and then it sounds like we should look into our own, what's already there. But, we just want to address all the issues that London faces and build accountability for the issues that we see. And, I think once you have code enforcement, you're going to step on some toes and some people will get upset about it. But I think for us to get what we need in downtown and in London in general, I think that kind of has to happen.
I think it's a great discussion. I think code enforcement's great. But, I've talked to the business owners. And if you go downtown, you talk to the business owners, who's the issue? Usually it's us. I'm just gonna be honest with you, it's us. It's council, it's the downtown historical district. We got business owners that wanna fix up their buildings, and they get told they're not allowed to do it. I mean, shooting you down right there, you had Dave Jackman, who did all this work, and he talks about how bad it looks and how he wants it to make it look nice. You wanna give your own money to fix up an alley that we're never gonna fix up, and we told you no. So if you go talk to the business owners downtown Main Street, they're gonna tell you, we're the problem of why downtown looks the way that it looks. So, I mean, I think a code enforcement officer is great. I think that's a great idea. And I think the historical downtown district either needs to start enforcing their rules or start applying for grants or really fulfilling their role. I don't think they've applied for a grant since the 90s.
Now, with the historic, downtown historic district, would they actually apply for the grant, or would they
Yes.
empower the property owner on what direction to go in order to
From what I
procure
understand,
grants?
there
Yeah,
could be a
'cause-
different grant.
Yeah,
But I know
'cause
the
Dave
district
Jackman said that.
themselves, they have not applied for a grant since the 90s, and that was when they did the sidewalks.
Okay, yeah, because Dave Jackman said that Steve Hume worked with him to
Yeah.
help him learn how to get the grants that he got for his building. He got $500,000.
Right.
That was available to historic property.
Right.
So, and I know that with some of the laws, guidelines of the downtown historic district, of course, there's certain paint colors you can use.
Right.
and There's only certain, different things you can do, and if they fall within those guidelines, I don't see why they wouldn't, let someone go ahead with
Yeah.
some of their projects.
Got a question for you.
Yes,
I don't want to step on any toes here.
It's okay, I already told you I wasn't trying to step on yours.
I want you to give me your feelings about all the rules and stipulations that the Historical Downtown Committee has. Do they have too many? Do they have too much power? Give me your,
I don't think they have too many. Are you referring to the Downtown Review Board?
I'm talking about the Historical
Review board.
Review Board.
Wait, are you talking about the review board or the buildings themselves? Because there's two different parts.
So London has a historical review board, and I'm on that. Obviously, if I'm submitting a plan for our buildings, I have to recuse myself. But then there's also the historical, it's federal. Yeah.
I don't think that's what he's talking about. I
Yeah,
think he's,
I think you're talking about the rules from HRB, historic review. I think that's what.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm,
Talking about the
Yeah.
where it
Yeah,
comes
I
to the
don't-
paint
I don't
color.
find-
paint colors and all
Right.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's where
don't-
I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't find that too restrictive. I think it's good to have that kind of oversight on downtown so we don't get just crazy stuff happening down there. I think, when we look at downtown, we should be looking into the future, but we also need to be respectful to the past that London has. So I think that's in place, and it protects somebody coming in and putting something in downtown London that doesn't belong there. But I guess I'm on the committee, or on that board, so I can't
Right.
argue too much about them. I just was appointed not too long ago, but I think it's good to have a check in place so that we don't get something distasteful downtown that would detract from the rest of downtown.
And with those guidelines, they're not the guidelines that you guys have put in place. These are historic guidelines that are put in place to keep a city historically relevant. And if it stays historically relevant, what happens is it actually opens up those grants to them. If they are historically relevant, they have some type of committee that comes to make sure that everything's, say like the light post and colors, make sure everything's relevant. And if it is, then they say, okay, then these grants are available to them because they have stayed historically relevant.
And our whole downtown is on the National Historic Register.
Right?
So and that's a great point, that it does make us qualify for grants and the such. So we really are beholden to chase that money.
I do know that Bill Long mentioned last night that he'd reviewed your email. I don't know if he's gotten back with you on this or not.
Not yet. I talked to him today, but not about this. I know that I heard secondhand that he was looking at some of the issues particular. But again, this isn't pointing fingers at street department or Bill or anybody. It's just saying, look at the issue that we have, and let's start building accountability and looking. I'd say everybody should look inward and see where we can find solutions. I think that was more than 5 minutes. I'm sorry.
All right.
That's all right,
Well, we had
thanks.
questions for you too.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have
Anita Likens.
Anita Likens.
Hello, Anita Likens, 157 East First Street here in London. And wow, this is what government should be doing. The discussion that I just heard, the civility, the politeness, the respect. Thank you very much, Mr. Mars, wherever you are. So again, this was good to see it. Obviously, I continue to read the Constitution. One of the things that we had chatted about before is that I've been reading that what we started out with first was the congressional, Article 1. We ended up with executive branch, which was the Article 2. We then went into Article 3, which is the Supreme Court. These are all the pillars, the foundation. We also did the full faith and credit of the U.S. government, which was Article 4. Today we're starting on Article 5. Article 5 is actually about amendments and the ability of Congress to form those. The Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states, shall call a convention for proposing these amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of this Constitution, when ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of several states, or by conventions in 3/4 thereof, as the one or other mode of ratification may be proposed by the Congress, providing that no amendment which shall be made prior to year 1808 shall in any manner affect the first and fourth clauses in the 9th section of the first article, and that no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. So what were those amendments? Well, I can read a little history if I have the time, but the amendments started out they started out at 17, they were revised to 12, and they ended up being the 10 amendments that we know and love. And those that were originally ratified by the Congress, I'm going to read to you next. And so with those 10 amendments, Amendment 1, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That accentuation of peaceably was my ad lib there. Amendment 2, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, which shall not be infringed. A militia is the civilians. Again, my own ad in there. Amendment 3, no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Amendment 4, the right of the people to secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by an oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Amendment 5, no person shall be held to answer for capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment of indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or of the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any persons be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of liberty, life, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Amendment 6, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the cause and nature of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, and to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his said defense. Amendment 7, in suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Amendment 8, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Amendment 9, the enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others as retained by the people. And Amendment 10, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited to it by the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Thank you very much. Great, huh? It's such a short document that everything is clearly defined for us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Do we have anyone else on our audience concerns? Okay. All right. On to our committee reports. Mr. Eads?
Bear with me here.
Okay.
Service Committee met last night. Most of that report were given by Street Superintendent Bill Long. Just a few of the highlights: all of the street lights are in. The cameras that go with those have not all been calibrated correctly. They need to be, as he said, fine-tuned. They expect to have that done. The camera system's in. We had appropriated $125,000 total. He spent $93,000. He may still have to spend a little bit more. That's going to be under budget. They have 4 employees that are going to be trained to use that, or maybe this is on the cameras. Rex, was that on the traffic cameras? The 4 employees? Okay, so yes. So they're going to have 4 employees trained on the traffic cameras and the lights. However, the sewer camera, they're also getting training on that also. They do have an opening for a street worker. They had a gentleman hired, but that didn't work out mutually, we were told. Rex advised that they'd met with property owners on Marymount and Graceland. They're trying to work out something with them to try to get some water moved from that area so it's not an issue anymore. And we did have a short report that Rex gave for the from our new rec director, Landon McKenzie. Basically, this was a 3-day report on the pool, of which I believe there was about 480 paid admissions in the first 3 days. So they have paid, or they have sold some of the punch cards, not very many, and the season passes. But I was a little disappointed. I believe they closed the pool today early, like 12:30 or 1, due to weather, and then it turned out to not be such a bad day. But they made that decision to close the pool, I believe, today. So we'll have a more extensive report next meeting from Landon McKenzie. That's what I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Robinson?
I don't have much other than July 6th will be the next public service meeting, 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hayes?
Next safety meeting will be June 14th, 5 p.m. in the conference room. And we'll be taking up some issues there, I do believe.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Hitt?
I have nothing.
All right, Mr.
I
Stahl?
have nothing.
All right, Mr. Smith?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
So I sent an email to all the counselors, so I want to encourage you. Again, finance is June 6th at 6 p.m., correct? So BPU, our last 2 meetings have, I don't know, they have been a lot longer than any meetings I've ever been a part of. BPU has been working for probably about the last year and a half, really hard on fixing the new water plant, and then what are we going to do to make sure that we can handle new growth. I don't want to say the city, I don't know all the details, but from my understanding, there was a city a little bit north of us. They had to eventually stop telling, or they had to tell developers that they had to stop coming to their town. And so London is getting close to that point. So, you know, it's kind of, we have the answers, and this is kind of what they are. So I don't want to go into too great detail. I don't think that'd be appropriate, but we will, obviously, the next finance meeting, we'll go into detail with everything, just in case something changes. But they're going to be bringing a proposal to finance. It'll be fixing the new water plant. We're excited. We do have actually two options. One that we're looking at, the pilot study that we did, it is successful. The federal EPA, it will not affect how much water comes, the flow rates or anything like that. But then also with the possibility of putting a well on a property and piping the water. And so that's a great options there. So we're excited about that. But we also want to fix, you know, old issues that we have. You know, obviously we saw with the levee, infrastructure was a large concern. So they've been looking into that. So it's fixing the water plant, fixing a lot of the issues that we already have, but then also getting things prepared so that we can continue to develop so that we don't go stagnant. You know, London's continuing to grow, and so that's one of the areas that we're in. So I encourage you, June 6th at 6 p.m. if you can be there. All the board members will be there. I'm sure the superintendents will be there to answer any questions that we have, you know, before it's brought to council. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Okay, on to our city official reports.
With such a small agenda, I have narrowed mine down to about 4 pages, so just bear with me here. As Councilman Eads stated, are you leaving? It won't be that long. I'm just kidding, Greg. The pool has opened, and it is very well attended so far. Bummer news is that the splash pad is currently down. We had a broken part when we started it back up, so we're waiting to get that part in, and you guys all know about getting parts in right now if you guys try to buy anything. So we hope to have that in very soon. Just want to reiterate a couple things. One is mowing. Mowing. If your yard needs mowed, please mow it. If you own a property that's not developed, please mow it. This is where we're really starting to get a bunch of complaints, and we're going out, we're getting addresses, we're sending letters, but all those things take time. So I just ask that you just mow the properties you have. I know it's a pain right now because we're not in the hot part of summer, so I mean, you're probably mowing your house 2-3 times a week with the way it rains, and then it's kind of cooler weather. So just please take care of your properties and mow. I ask and urge all the citizens to do that. And if you do see someone whose grass is around 8 to 10 inches, just shoot me an email. It'd be great if you could send me pictures and an address, and then we can get the process started. The Independence Day celebration, once again, fireworks will be on the 3rd, on July 3rd at dusk. Usually happens about 10 p.m. And then the parade will be on July 4th at 11 a.m., which takes place on Main Street from Park Avenue to First Street. And then the MoLo Fun Fact is the number 35 this week, and that is how many kids attended London's first ever Safety Town 3-day event. So Miss Bowen with London Elementary came from another district where they had safety towns. You've probably seen them or heard about them. It's where kids come in, and it's a free little day camp, and they teach them about safety of fire and how to ride a bike and read traffic signals. And there's just a bunch of things that they do. So they did their first one, and they were able to have 35 kids attend, which is pretty awesome. The one day, the London Police Department was heavily involved, teaching all their kid safety stuff. One day, the Division of Fire and EMS was there teaching, had all the trucks out there teaching them everything about fire safety. And then actually they brought in somebody from the municipal pool about water safety. So, and that's just some of the people. That's just some of the people from the city that went. There's many other groups involved. appreciate all them putting this on for the kids, and it'll just grow and get better every year. So congratulations to Ms. Bowen and London City Schools for taking this thing on, and we'll grow it every year, and it'll just get better and better. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we do not have any old business and no new business, so one's a roundtable. Mr. Smith.
I don't have much, just a reminder, and then, thoughts and prayers for Landon, the young man that was hit on the bicycle. I see some things that get popped up on Facebook, and, he's got a long road to recovery, but, hopefully he continues to do well.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stahl?
I talked about June, Strawberry Festival time, 23rd, 4th, and 5th. Our parade's 25th, and our Shriners are coming back, and we want everyone that's interested to participate. That's just a week before the 4th of July parade. Our Grand Marshal is a former Chief Pete Tobin this year. And we've got 2 bourbon chicken stands coming in since we have such long lines of blocking everything. And the Cobra Club is also coming back. And on a sad note, my wife and I would like to thank everyone for their prayers for our daughter, Jamie. She is brain dead, and tomorrow they will be harvesting her tissues and organs to help out others. And after that, she returns to our Heavenly Father. Thank you.
Mr. Hitt?
I have nothing.
Mr. Hayes?
Safety Service meeting will be June the 14th, 5 p.m. Conference room. I want to thank all city employees for a job well done. Talking about Safety Town, I was one of the first safety officers when I was with Dublin PD about 50 years ago. And it was just a little thing that we put together, and they gave us some guidelines, and I jumped in and did it, but I had a great time, and I hope it comes back and fires up and we continue it. Be in prayer for my friend here. Nobody should lose a child. I can't even try to imagine what they're going through, but please, tonight, pray for them, and we just ask you to be with them. That's all I got.
All right, Mr. Robinson?
I don't have much, just a reminder of the public service meeting, July 6th. There's a lot going on with a lot of people that are close to me, so I want to send prayers out to a lot of people that need prayers for good outcomes. Mr. Stahl, I hate to hear about your issues, but I have a lot of people close to me that are going through some difficult times, so just prayers out to all these people.
All right, thank you. Mr. Eads?
John, you have my condolences also. I know you guys have been through a lot with this here lately. Hopefully you're at peace with everything. Just a reminder for everyone else, the Finance Committee does meet June 6th, 6 p.m. I would almost suggest that we come in here because I think it's going to be a big meeting. There's going to be a lot on the agenda. If you're not aware of it, the Board of Public Utilities, I think, is going to give a lengthy presentation. Plus, we have to start discussions about how we're going to move forward to fund the fire department. Hopefully, everybody here, sitting here tonight, comes with some ideas so we can discuss this and start to move forward. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know what we're going to do, but I think everybody needs to have some input and be involved in that. So otherwise, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. I have just a couple things here. Rex let me know that tonight was a soft live stream it's the soft start of the live stream of our council this evening. So from what I understand, it's connected to YouTube, and then the link is put on the city site, so you can log into the city site and bring up the link. So thank you for that idea, Mr. Norman. Right. On the city council site. So you can get the link there and watch the live stream. So we'll see how that goes with our soft start live stream this evening. Also, too, I went to the Madison County EMD meeting yesterday, and it was a fact-finding mission, and my mission was to find out if they would, even be interested in talking to us in the event that the levy does not pass. just as an option, and I just, wanted to state also that, I wouldn't want to view them as a Plan B, but I would view it more of as being proactive, because I would hate to have the levy go back onto the ballot again and not be successful again, and then at that point, we would be way behind the 8 ball. So I'm not sure if there's any other plans that the administration has right now besides the levy. But I just wanted to at least go there, speak with them, and see if there's any lines of communication there. And they relayed a few things to me, but overall, they said that they, would be more than happy to have us come to their meetings and discuss anything, that we may want to present to them. So, and they do meet only once a month, but they take it serious enough that they said they would even, if we want to meet with them, that they would even be willing to form a committee. So that way we could meet more often, because if something like that were to take place, it would definitely take more than just one meeting every month in order to have that happen. And I let them know I don't know of any other plans besides the levy at this point, in case the proposed EMS fire levy does not end up successful again. And then also to you, Mr. Norman, you asked the question if I meant the fire and EMS. And at this point, I don't know. I haven't looked at all of the finances. I'm going to get with our auditor to take a look at the finances of the fire and the EMS because we have to look at reality. We can't just hope that it passes again. We have to have a plan in place if in the event that it does not. Because if it does not pass, it could be a really big issue right away, and it can happen really quick. So I think that we should be proactive in that, having another plan in place. So does anyone else have any other questions about that?
I would just, say, which I respect everyone's ideas and looking into that, and but I think it doesn't take long to look into it. The city would lose so much money in, looking at the facts. They're not free. They're not free. And so if you begin to look at the rates, I would encourage everyone to investigate the rates. Most likely, it would cost us more to go to it would cost the taxpayer more money to go with the EMD. So not only would the city lose money, then on the other hand, the taxpayer would pay more money than if we were able to get the fire department funded. So, but I want to say I do respect our council president looking into every option. But I would just, as we move forward with the facts, let's keep that in mind, that we would lose, I'm sure, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then also, again, taxpayers, it would actually cost them more money to run with them. They're not free. You can look at their millage of what their rates are. You can look at the levies and compare them and see that it would be pretty expensive. So.
Right, and of course, that is a possibility too. And I think that even those numbers, that's something that could possibly be discussed in negotiations. So, the numbers, they may be what they are, but in negotiations, you can come up with new numbers if it's, something that you want to discuss. Yes.
I just have a quick question about the finance meeting on Monday at 6 o'clock. Are visitors permitted to speak, and how long will they be permitted to speak?
Finance is Josh. Let's see here, our chair for finance is not here, but I would imagine that there should be, the
The
community should be
rules,
allowed to speak.
yeah, well, the rules would be, as technically as Josh Peters as the president, he could make it that he does not allow anyone to speak. And it should be 5 minutes, just like ours. That's how all our committees are set up. But technically, the president of that committee can lower that time, just like our council president can.
You don't know at this point.
No, I don't know,
No,
since
not
he
with
isn't
him.
here, I'm not sure.
I would suggest, if you really, or someone that does want to speak, to email him and be put on the agenda so that you're recognized and put on the agenda. who knows how long this meeting's going to last.
Right.
So if you're on the agenda, I think you would have to recognize someone and let them speak.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Also, too, my condolences go out to Mr. Stahl's family there, and also, to Ukraine and freedom. If there's nothing else, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.